Good evening, grave robbers, and welcome back to the television graveyard. We are your TV necromancers, Laura Prince and Noah Houlihan. We've come here tonight to examine the spirits of past television shows to find out which ones could be resurrected, should be resurrected, and which ones should just stay doomed. This is a podcast in which we will analyze the history, the hype, and the aftermath of shows that ran only one season or only one episode. With me as always is TV's Noah Houlihan.
Dishonesty is the telltale sign of someone who would steal the death box and use it to kill off 3 people.
We are doing 13 Fear is Real.
Yeah, we are. This is going to be a look at episodes 1 through 3. We're looking at this being a 3-parter because we really want to take the time to really evaluate everything. And, oh boy, this is a doozy.
This one's fun. So this was an 8-episode run on the CW.
Yes.
From January 7th to February 20th, 2009.
Okay.
This was not canceled mid-season. It did run the entire season that it was intended to run.
Yes, and it is a reality show about 13 people who are dropped off in the woods to be the playthings of the mastermind who will kill them all off one by one until only one person remains and wins $66,666.
Yeah. Not a lot of money?
Not a lot of money. Like, when we first started watching, I thought it was $666,000. But it's not.
My notes literally say in all caps, that's it?
Because I really want to start with this because a lot of the things that happen to me make me think about Fear Factor. The old Fear Factor that was on NBC. That was 3 stunts for $50,000.
Yeah.
This is multiple days of crap.
Multiple games of crap, and also just the general uncomfortableness. Because we can presume that most episodes are about 2 days. So you're figuring minimum you have now spent 2 weeks in kind of not great conditions.
Yeah.
Because they're not sleeping anywhere nice.
No, they certainly aren't. We meet our contestants. Let's see if I have all of them here. Melissa, Rodney, Laura, Cody, Erica, Adam, Kelly, Ted, Stephanie, Nassar, Lauren, Ryan, and Leah.
Nasir.
I said Nasir.
You pronounced it strangely. But that's also probably because you're looking at your notes from the very beginning.
Yes.
I will say, we are in very much... you know how you had, some classmates who definitely changed the spelling of their names to...
Oh my God.
A lot of the female contestants are spelled... They spell their names in a very unorthodox way.
I legitimately thought they were doing the Treehouse of Horror pun names. Because Stephanie spells her name Stiffany. Like a dead stiff. So I thought, are they all going to be bits? The names?
It's also in a very difficult to read font. Because it's actually, she doesn't spell it Stiffany. But I could see where you would say that.
How does she spell it? Stiff.
It is Stefffinnie.
That's still not how you spell Stephanie.
She is also one of the few people who, and they don't really talk about this very much, she had other jobs before this. She was in a short film called Superman Unplugged, where she played Mercy.
Huh.
Lex Luthor's dutiful assistant. She had nothing super high profile, but she did work pretty steadily. In things such as Ginger Dead Man, Saturday Night Cleaver.
Oh my God.
John Tucker Must Die, Memoirs of a Geisha, both in uncredited extra roles.
Okay.
But Stephanie had been working as an actor.
I feel like you're going to tell me most of these people are working as actors.
I have not researched every single contestant yet because I wanted to kind of dribble it out over the course of...
I get the feeling throughout this that there's a lot of direction and acting going on. We'll get into that as we get further.
Stephanie is one I happened to research.
So we kind of meet some of the people on a bus. They're all on a bus being led into the middle of nowhere.
Into the Louisiana Bayou.
The things that I have written down is Leah says something really ridiculous that I have summarized as I want to overcome my greatest fear like a bed.
Oh, she talks about how when she turns her lights off, she like flies into bed, like she leaps into bed. Because my next note is, get a nightstand lamp, baby girl.
Yeah, why are you so afraid of being in bed?
We also, I want to address this at the top of the episode. Mm-hmm. Whenever we hear the mastermind, if you've ever played the Jackbox game Trivia Murder Party...
Yeah, it's that voice.
The mastermind is next to impossible to take seriously.
Yes.
Because it's the exact same voice. And I want to address that voice because that's going to come up later.
Yes.
Why the voice... my two problems with this voice.
Okay. Throughout this episode, I'll include quotes from the mastermind, and I'll also occasionally, for no reason, include quotes from Trivia Murder Party. And see if you can tell the difference. Future editor Noah here, interrupting. So I make a joke that I'm going to include clips of the mastermind and clips from Trivia Murder Party and just kind of do that as a joke. That's not going to happen. I just need to jump in real quick and tell you that during the editing process, the playlist on YouTube we were using to watch the show was taken down. Luckily, a fan of the show, M, was able to send me all of the episodes. So I now have all the episodes. At this point, we have not watched all the episodes. So luckily, M came to save the day here. That being said, the files are some other weird file. They're AVIF files, which is not getting along with Premiere. So I have a workaround that I plan to do for the next episode. But for this to come out on time... there's not going to be a lot of clips in this episode at all. This is my second time recording this because I'm trying my best for you guys. So sorry for the interruption. Back to the show.
Can you tell the difference?
Lauren then says, it's always the ditz who dies first, which is not the trope.
It used to be. One of the trope, it's always either specifically a male black character or a female blonde character.
I've always known it to be the black male character, but maybe I have not watched enough reality shows, horror movies.
Casey Becker sends her regards.
One other funny thing I want to bring up is, to me, the character I think I'm going to most link onto is Cody.
Yeah.
Because Cody has this big-ass mohawk. So I'm like, okay, Cody's going to stand out throughout this entire show because he's got a giant mohawk. They do not provide Cody with anything to do his hair.
Yeah.
So after this, opening shot, his hair's just kind of, off to the side.
He goes from looking very punk rock to looking very pop punk.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. He gets very emo as he can.
He looks super emo in the rest of the show.
And then one of my favorite lines is they're all on the bus and the bus suddenly stops and the bus driver goes, "End of the line." There's a tree in the way. And then they get out and it's like a small tree you could clearly move. It was very video game, we can't go this way.
I don't want to go that way.
So they all just jump off the bus and start stomping through the woods.
Most of them go are there directions? And all I can think is that there's a producer just pointing off camera.
Yeah, just go where the camera people are going.
Stephanie, we get her first talking head, and she believes in spirits, and she claims to have a sixth sense.
Yeah, Stephanie mentions, I've seen ghosts before. And I was like, oh, you're dealing with a whole other thing. than anyone else here. And it also just cracks me up because we know it's going to be like challenge based.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be challenges here. The idea that there's going to be a ghost based challenge where it's like, in this one, we've captured an actual ghost. It's like, really, reality show? That's not the best use for that.
They approach a creepy cabin and complain about it, and I don't know which of the female competitors screams, "No! Scary things always happen in cabins!" And it's like, yeah, bud.
I believe that was Leia, because Leia does a bunch of stuff like this.
Leia whines through the entire first episode. She doesn't whine that much in any other episode, but she whines a lot in this episode. The door of the cabin is unlocked, and somebody goes, "Okay, we could sleep here." And my next note is, "For under $70,000.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at this cabin and I'm like, you could not pay me $70,000 to sleep at this without challenges.
Yeah. I also want to bring this up now of the very odd casting of a Laura, a Leia, and a Lauren.
Yeah.
And Leia is a brunette, but Lauren and Laura are both blondes.
Laura's not blonde.
Oh, are they not?
No.
Am I getting that confused with Kelly?
Lauren, Melissa, and Kelly are all blondes.
Okay.
And they're all that identical late 2000s,
Yeah.
like, slightly over-processed blonde that was really in vogue at that time. So they're all... We're covering the first 3 episodes, and through the entire 3rd episode, there are 2 of these women that I am not sure who is who at all in the 3rd episode.
Yeah. Additionally, it's so freaking dark.
Yes.
That you can't really make a lot of stuff out.
Yeah, they went to the Murder in Small Town X School of Cinematography.
I feel like Murder in Small Town X at least used night vision cameras at some points.
They did, but it was not very clear. But Murder in Small Town X makes better use of the daylight hours as well.
Yeah.
Want to set that up too. Foreshadowing, y'all.
Yeah. Other notes that I have is it says don't trust on the wall. Mm-hmm. There's a moment where it's like a sexy moment of them applying bug spray to one another.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, look, they're taking their shirts off so they don't get eaten by mosquitoes.
They sleep under mosquito nets.
Yeah.
So this was ostensibly also filmed in, like, the dead of summer.
Well, they are also being told, we're constantly being told that they're by a swamp.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine it would be buggy.
But they're probably, like, for this to be airing in January, I am assuming that this clearly would have had to have been filmed quite a while before that. And I genuinely think they were probably filming in late summer, at best. Maybe fall. Mm-hmm. It's still pretty bad.
I also have this wonderful quote from Lauren.
I'm the type of girl that enjoys a dirty martini at the bar, not being abandoned in the woods.
Yeah!
She doesn't like being dirty. She was complaining about, like, being gross. She's like, I like a dirty martini.
So it's a pun off of the word dirty. Okay,
Yeah.
That's a little bit better.
Not
You're
a
just
great
being
one.
like, I like drinking, not camping.
Nasir is a rapper who goes by Show.
Yeah, despite...
Never, ever gets called Show again.
Never again. I was like, okay, cool, we're establishing a character. No, we're not? Oh, okay. He's rapping for no reason, though.
I mean, he is trying to get seen rapping on camera from Jump Street because, think about it. You don't know if you're going to be the first out. You want to get your moment in there. Because if say he was the first one out, he's at least gotten his moment to, like, rap on camera and have that, like, footage.
Yeah.
A phone rings and they look for it and it's coming from under the floorboard. And then we hear an ADR of the mastermind because there's no way a 2009 cell phone came through that clear.
Yes. I also want to point out that the phone rings and Leah goes, no.
Yeah, Grant O'Brien, no.
It's a phone ringing. She starts crying.
It is, I mean, this is, I would be crying if I knew I had to sleep in that cabin too.
Yeah, you wouldn't have signed up for this show. You wouldn't have gotten on the bus. She's panicking because the producers are going to start the show.
I mean, Yeah, I probably wouldn't have gotten on the bus.
So the mastermind says, you're going to have to break up into pairs, but one person must stay left behind.
And Mohawk Cody, who we've established is a horror fan and stayed the night in abandoned buildings before, is like, I'll do it because this literally doesn't bother me.
Also, Cody clearly went to the reality show school because staying behind is always the best plan. The people who wander off always get tribe swapped or something like that. The person who stays left behind gets immunity and stuff.
Yeah, I think there was the element of they're so discombobulated at this point, they might not be thinking like that. But since Cody doesn't care about the situation, he's just like, eh.
Okay, I think I need to bring this up now, then.
Okay.
Do you think these people are actually scared?
At times, yes.
I don't at all. Not at this point. They're just in a place.
I mean, the place is unpleasant. They're uncomfortable. They've been driving for... I think you are so laid back that you don't understand how emotionally off-putting it can be to be uncomfortable and anxious and, like... I would be upset in this situation at this time.
Okay.
And I think I'm not being unreasonable there. I think a lot of people would be upset in this situation at this time. I think you're so laid back and not nervous about things that you don't get that.
Okay, all right.
I also never... It wouldn't surprise me. And this is the only episode where I'm not totally sure, but in future episodes, I really think you were not all there earlier today after not having had coffee yet.
True.
Are these people being provided coffee? Are these people getting okay sleep in this crappy bug-filled cabin? Sleep deprivation, I think, is a very key element to this show.
Yeah. I think there's a big difference, though, between being grumpy and annoyed and being scared.
I mean, I would have been... I'm really sympathetic to Leah because I think in this situation I would have been Leah. If I had made it this far, which I probably would not have.
Yeah.
Leia keeps saying the word no.
So many times.
We also established Kelly, who we're going to see a lot this episode. Kelly establishes as a good Christian girl who believes in the devil and believes in God.
Yes. So what basically gets told is they're broken up into pairs, and then one half of the pairs need to go wander off into the woods.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like discussing their fears. And Laura says, my biggest fear is probably abandonment. I was left out at sea once. And that's all the information we get. Wait a minute, she was left in the ocean?
Somebody at one point mentioned sharks, which is pretty funny. So they split up into pairs: Erica and Ted, Ryan and Melissa, Rodney and Leah, Kelly and Lauren, Nasir and Stephanie, Laura and Adam. And I don't have which person says this, but it's a great line of, I'm totally tripping, how could I not be tripping?
I have that note too. I'm tripping, and then nothing happens.
Well, I thought she was using the term, like the slang term, tripping.
Oh, you think she was tripping because she was out in the woods, not because she was falling?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Like, freaking out.
Oh, no, nothing has happened is what I have.
Oh.
Is like, what is making you trip? You're just walking in the woods.
The woods is dark and buggy and there's snakes.
There's a camera crew!
I think you are really underplaying how much this situation sucks.
In any case, the team that is out walking in the woods gets assaulted by the minions?
Which are not The cute little yellow guys.
They're like, banana. And they scream.
They remind me of the augurs from Night Trap.
From Night Trap. No, it's augurs.
That's what they look like.
Yeah.
Because we don't see anything identifying about them physically. The other best comparison I can come up with is they're in all black, but like the putties from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Like they're in essentially probably slightly gussied up black morph suits.
Yes, they are assaulted by a crew of masked magicians. And through choppy editing, they all end up tied up to chairs. They're bound with belts, and they're blindfolded and gagged.
Yeah. We do occasionally just cut back to Cody, who's just kind of just hanging out.
Yeah, chilling out. Because now the other side of the pairs have to go out. And they find... They play one of those, Saw tape recorders.
Yes, they use that conceit a lot through here.
So, now we got to talk about gameplay. Because what they basically say is, your partner is somewhere out in the woods. Mm-hmm. Free only your partner.
Yeah.
And then come back here. The last two people will be condemned to the execution ceremony.
And in the ceremony, 2 people enter and 1 person leaves.
If I recall correctly, they're all holding they're given a camera, so they're all filming themselves.
Yeah, they pick up a camera from the mannequin in front of the start point, which they have to return to at the end.
Yes, so basically, now there's no camera crew with them. They're recording on their own.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of MTV's Sphere, where there was no camera crew, which made more sense to me. So they're all filming themselves, looking for their partner. They never give us, as a viewing audience, an idea of where they are other than the woods. We don't know how far away their partners are.
No.
We don't know if they're bunched up together. We don't know if there's obstacles in the way. And we surely cannot see anything. This is all just shaky cam and catching a face with a flashlight.
This reminds me of the death sequences in Murder in Small Town X as well.
But yeah, the death sequence in Murder in Small Town X, though, they get assaulted by the killer, and you see them die in first person, and there's a flashbang, and they are purposely hiding information from you that will make sense later.
I just meant when they're doing when they're going out to the killer's journey or whatever. That shaky cam, night vision-y bad.
Yeah.
Not being able, that's what I meant, not the actual kill screen.
Yes. This it's so I can't even call it a game. It's they just come back and they're we're done. It's the same as watching golf from only the cabin. And everybody comes out, plays golf, and comes back and says, this was my score. Because you have no context of anything that happens.
Yeah.
Because what I was fully expecting, because it's what they set up here, someone's going to find not their partner.
Yeah.
And then the question becomes, do I yell for their partner to be yo, he's over here? Or do I leave them tied to a chair to fend for themselves?
Yeah.
That's reality show storytelling and stuff like that. Instead, stuff happens and Kelly and Lauren lose.
I mean, there is some clear editing shenanigans to try to make it look close with the groups coming up at the front. It's mostly screaming, at least half of which to me has to be done in ADR.
Oh, there is a small part of me that thinks all of it is fake. Because you never see anything that would imply a competition. I could make this exact scene And all I'd have to do is like, okay, everybody run away from this spot. Okay, we're going to film the part where Ted saves Erica. Okay. And now we're going to film the part where Lauren saves Adam. Okay, cool. And now just shaky cams of you running. And now teams returning. And now we're done. Like, none of this looks like a competition.
No, it's a lot of... It's clearly heavily edited. It's clearly... There's... some of them can't even act that well because, like, most of the people tied up and screaming in the woods are at least screaming. Nasir just seems kind of put out. He's not mad. He's just disappointed.
And from a gameplay perspective, if you're the one tied to the chair, you have very little control over your own destiny.
You have no agency.
So due to, like, random draw, you're kind of just screwed.
That's what happens to Lauren, essentially, in this episode. Is like, Lauren and Kelly are last. Lauren has no agency in this.
Yeah.
Lauren is last because Kelly takes forever. Mm-hmm. We finish, it doesn't matter who wins, because there's nothing for the first team back.
Yeah. It's just don't come in last.
Yeah. That's all it is it's chop rules. Mm-hmm. Just don't lose.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that Lauren and Kelly are last, and therefore they're being sent to the ceremony.
Mm-hmm. But before ceremony time, we have to watch Leia have to pee. So in the middle of the night, Leia gets up to pee, and then just panics, and just starts screaming like, "Ah! I see something! This isn't funny! This isn't funny!"
What's going on? This isn't funny. This isn't funny! What is that? Lauren! Lauren!
I don't like it.
I was like, this girl is just trying to be the star of the show. She got so scared earlier of a phone.
Well, there's a really interesting thing, because the two people who go out and get her are Lauren and Kelly.
Yes.
Who have something to be nervous about. And yet they're consoling a player who is safe.
Yeah.
We go to daytime and we get from Ted. Mm-hmm. Daytime? We love daytime.
Yeah.
Daytime is the biggest problem with the first 3 episodes of the show.
It goes from Leia having to pee and screaming in the woods to people playing washers.
Yeah.
Like, throw some stuff.
They introduced the element of the death box, though, in the morning.
Yes, so they find, like, this cage in the woods. And in said cage is the death box. And this is going to be, like, probably the most interesting concept in the show so far. If someone can manage to steal the death box without anyone seeing them, there would be instructions on there on how they could kill off 3 other players. Kill off is their fancy way of saying, like, voted out or eliminated. It's killed off. And, like, there's, like, a lock on it, so they don't know the combination. So they got to find a way to kind of sneak off alone, grab the box, and leave. It is explained if they're caught being the killer, they immediately go to the execution ceremony. They're not eliminated, is my understanding. Again, we're only 3 episodes deep. But they have to go to the elimination ceremony if caught.
Right.
But you have the power to just eliminate 3 people at some point.
Yeah, and we're not given a lot of details on, like, how that works.
And, like, that, it triggered immediately to me is we know that there's 8 episodes.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, 8 episodes, 8 eliminations. Plus 3 is 11. Mm-hmm. So that's 11 eliminations there. So then there's an elimination every episode, then we get to a final 2 and an ending. Got it. Cool. Reality show. On it.
I think limiting it to 3 means that you cannot, like...
Just kill everyone.
Yeah, like, It also makes sure that they still have a show.
Yes.
Because if you had a very efficient killer that's killing off 6 people in a day, you have a 3-day show, and that's a lot of money for the CW to have splashed out just for one of those people to have been real good at it.
So, this is good to me. I really like this whole bit.
Yeah.
Because we see Stephanie steal the box, and then you say,
Oh, she has nowhere to put it because it's 2009 and hot girl clothes don't hide anything.
yeah, so she's got no pocket, so she throws it into the woods.
Yeah, like, hot girl... For those of you who were not young adults in 2009, the clothing for young women in their early 20s, you couldn't fit, like, your cell phone, much
No.
less, like, a box the size roughly of a Rubik's Cube. There was nowhere for her to put that big old cube.
No, absolutely not. Like, girls' jeans at that time held 3/4.
You had ones that held 3?
I had none. I was a dude in the 2000s. These pockets goes on for days. So they discover that the box is missing, and everyone freaks out like it's already gone. Oh my god, I can't believe it's already gone. This is terrible. Oh, there's a killer. I can't trust anybody. Everyone's getting all like mad and freaking out. And then we get footage of Stephanie going back to collect the box. She kind of loses it, so she has to like dig through the grass for a bit, finds it, and puts it back.
Yep.
She wusses out on being the killer.
Yep.
I think that's an interesting little story beat.
And immediately sows discord because everyone like complains, and then everyone's weird about it, and then my next note is sunset mercifully, because again they don't know what to do with daytime in this show.
Yeah.
This is the least bad episode because we have all of the establishing, so we don't see a lot of daytime. The next 2 episodes, if sun's out, time to crochet, kids.
Yeah.
Or look for our favorite character who's coming in episode 2.
No spoilers. But once it is nighttime, it is now time for the execution ceremony. I want to bring this up at this point.
Sure.
The whole idea of execution ceremony, I don't think fits thematically with the bad guy being the mastermind. Mastermind implies like this calculating, overthinking kind of evil.
Yeah.
And ceremony kind of implies like tradition and
Ritual.
spiritual and
Yeah.
ritual. So I feel like those ideas are incongruent. It should either be like the mastermind game
Yeah.
with the mastermind, or the mastermind should be known as like the cult leader.
Bray Wyatt vibes.
Yeah, like something like some sort of spiritual being above. If you're going to do things with like ceremonies, that it seems like theming wise they're missing the mark here.
Yeah, and like, you also now have to say that we have 2 different entities, the mastermind and the killer.
Yes,
Because the killer is the contestant holding the killer's box. Whether or not they have killed another contestant, they are still now the killer.
wouldn't it be better if it was like the cult leader and the protege?
Yeah.
Aren't those like clearer terms?
The disciple.
The disciple, yes.
Like, yeah, like, that would be a really cool way to, like, lean into the Louisiana Bayou setting and kind of lean into the, like, Southern Gothic, like, element that I think they're trying to do.
Yeah. Then, this is... I'm trying to stay calm. Because this is one of the most frustrating directorial decisions I've ever seen. The girls go out into the woods and are told to blindfold themselves. Their minions will take them to where the ceremony is taking place. They blindfold themselves, the minions come, and then we get a POV shot of them blindfolded.
Yeah.
So it's a shot where 93% of the shot is blocked out in black, and then, like, the weird upper corner is some trees. Why even put footage on screen? Why not just cut to black and be like, ooh, they're blindfolded? Like, why do I want to see that? Oh. I'm calming down. Go ahead and explain what's happening.
So they're told to film their last words, go to the end of the road, blindfold themselves, and then they each have to step into their own coffins. They will be buried alive, and only one of them will have the ability to escape.
So, yeah.
Both women hesitate, which, yeah.
Yeah.
And Christian Kelly prays.
Yes.
And can't blame her. Because I would be super upset and anxious in this challenge as well. Mm-hmm. Depending on how much this challenge is or is not faked.
Yeah.
Because, one, even with camera crews and all that, claustrophobia.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't really think anything of a contestant being upset to just be locked in the box, even in a good ceremony.
Yeah.
In a good, set of circumstances. Two, with the buried alive conceit, depending on how much they were actually buried alive, which I can't find a lot.
It doesn't, they show a shot of it, and, they throw dirt on it, but, it never looks like it's enough dirt that they wouldn't be able to push it open.
It looks like it's enough so that we get the shots of dirt coming in the caskets.
Yes.
Because they're just pine boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see if Lauren and Kelly do not know that it's only a few shovelfuls.
Yeah.
Having that, hey, there could be an accident.
Yeah.
So I get them being afraid at this point.
There's an entire special that we need to do for Stay Doomed at some point called Buried Alive.
Okay.
That aired on, the Discovery Channel, where they bury 3 people alive for science.
Oh my god.
It's an amazing special. In any case, I am thinking, this is an idea I've always had, or have had for a while.
Yeah.
The idea of a coffin escape the room. This is something you could do super quick on, the boardwalk and be like, it's a 10-minute escape the room. And the idea is that they throw you in a coffin, and then you got to figure out these puzzles with very limited space on how to get out. And I think, that's what they're going to do. What I believe happens is they kind of bang around the box.
Yeah.
But Kelly figures out that it's breakaway right where her feet are.
Yeah.
She kicks that out and kind of pulls herself and ends up going through a tunnel. And then pops out somewhere else.
Right. We don't see, we don't get the shot that I was, anticipating, which is I was expecting the full Buffy the Vampire Slayer hand coming out.
Yes.
Because I figured that they were, trick boxes, and that they were going to be intentionally easy to break out of in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But I sort of thought, we were going to get that cool drama shot.
Oh, yeah. Her coming out of the ground is kind of cool. It's not the dramatic, one hand pulling yourself, the bride type moment. But, she comes out of the ground, through something that was clearly designed to come out of.
Yeah. I wanted the cool drama moment.
Oh, yeah. My thing about this is, how is this a game? Mm-hmm. She kicked the right spot first.
Yeah.
I was so sure that there were going to be, they bury you with, a flashlight. I figured, there's going to be a point where they shut the flashlight off, and something in glow-in-the-dark paint says, the key to getting out is hidden within your shoes, and they pull their shoes off, and there's a message in there. Something. But instead, it's just they panicked enough until they hit a spot, and then they left.
Yeah, it's not
a game. It's not a competition.
No, Kelly gets out, and we hear Lauren ADR screaming for Kelly. And my next issue is that we don't see the fail state. We just hear Lauren screaming.
I mean, the assumption is supposed to be well, now she's buried alive and she'll just stay in the grave. That's supposed to be the assumption. But she was supposed to be able to escape because it was supposed to be a competition. It just overall doesn't make sense. A simple moment where they show the mastermind removing the thing that lets you escape.
Or just a shot of, like, it could have been taken before or after the women were even there, of just the grave being well and truly covered with more dirt.
Yeah, the dropping the backhoe on them.
Yeah. I also, and this is a problem with every elimination in the first 3 episodes, one thing, stay with me, one thing I think Escape the Night does pretty well is stops when you have, like, 2 people in the, like, killers, their equivalent of the elimination. Someone's able to usually hold back the winning player from saving the losing player. And it was like, we've already established these minions. If Kelly runs back to try to save Lauren, or you could have had the minions holding her back, it makes the winning player look better. Because it makes the winning player look like they're trying to save their friend and can't. Not just like, well, I won, goodbye.
This was something I was going to bring up later, but I'll bring it up now. The show does not bother making anyone a hero.
No.
Like, people survive, but no one's, like, valiant and trying to do what's best for the group or anything like that.
Because, like, all you would have needed was a shot of Kelly yelling back for Lauren and trying to run in a direction and being pulled back by these minion characters.
Yep, that would be great.
All you would have needed to make that work. And in the next episode, we're going to get back to that, because the next episode would have really benefited from that.
So before we move on...
Kelly's super chill about being buried alive when she returns to camp as well.
Kelly comes back, guess what? Leah cries.
Yeah.
They watch the last...
and everyone comforts Leah instead of Kelly, who's just been buried alive. Through it.
They watch the last will and testament of Lauren, who is now gone. She's like, thanks, guys. I guess I didn't make it. I wish all you guys luck. I won't say see you later. The next day, the box of death is gone.
Yeah.
And we don't know who took it, which I think is a better choice.
Yes.
Than us knowing the whole time. Before moving on to episode 2, on a scale of 1 to 13, how real is the fear in this episode?
5, 6?
I have it as a 5 as well.
Because I think,
just because of the buried alive game.
Yeah, like, I think that part is very easy to have been heavily faked. But I think they're uncomfortable. I think the cabin, is intentionally anxiety-inducing. It's hard to be comfortable. I do have some research on Lauren, since she is no longer part of the show.
We'd love to hear some more about Lauren.
Lauren was already well known as a model from the Preston and Steve calendar.
Oh, the Totally Office calendar.
Yeah, she was in multiple years. Most recently, I believe, being 2021.
Oh, wow.
She's from New Jersey. Her biggest fear is sharks.
Oh.
And she appears on Preston and Steve in an interview the first day this airs.
Oh, okay.
So that interview was actually online, and I found it.
Cool.
And she talks about how everybody got horrible poison ivy. Now remember, she's the first one killed off.
Yeah.
So that means for the rest of the series, everyone's dealing with poison ivy.
Yeah, that sounds unpleasant.
And she discusses that she feels that she got a ditzier edit than she deserved. But she's also like, I definitely said those things.
Yeah, those things got said by me.
And she hit her head in an on-set accident. When they were in the on-set doctors from having the poison ivy.
Oh, really?
She, hits her head. And Preston Steve was like, is that why you came back with bangs? And she was like, yeah. So I thought that was really fun and charming. Lauren covers a lot of events, or covered at this time, a number of events for Preston and Steve.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, I thought that was fun.
I feel like everyone here is going to be a show business person, but we'll see as we continue on this this journey. Episode 2 starts with a super long recap.
Oh, that's my first notice. Wow, it's a really long recap.
A recap goes on really long, and then, again, the director here making a very strange choice. It's audio of people talking with footage of a river. So we have no idea who's speaking.
I mean, I strongly think that a lot of this is intended to pull conversations that happened at literally any time out of where they fit in time.
Yeah.
It's meant to not show you who is present, because this conversation, we hear a conversation between Laura and Naseer.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know anything about when this conversation takes place.
That's true.
This could take place when it takes place, or it could take place 3 episodes from now.
Yeah.
But fits narratively better here. And they want to obscure the fact that maybe certain players won't be present. So if, say, it's Laura and Naseer talking and Ted's been eliminated, they don't want to show that Ted is visibly not around. That's my suspicion with this.
So...
And also that they might be wearing different clothing.
Yes, I'm going to have notes about that later. But this is another thing that I want to talk about director-wise that I noticed that's bothersome. We kind of open with them all discussing the fact that the box is gone.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out who was up the earliest. And, like, if you were up the earliest, could you confirm that the box was there or if the box was gone? Which is good, like, detective work. Then, interspersed with this are talking heads.
Yeah.
Of, like, you know, the mastermind's out there, we got to do something. But they're also shot handheld.
Yes.
Which makes it come off as weird.
Okay.
Because directing a reality show wise, handheld is a fly on the wall, they are not really there camera, where they're just kind of floating around observing what's happening.
Yeah.
A talking head is done on a tripod directly to camera to kind of be like, I'm removed from the situation right now.
Yeah.
And in like a different area so I can talk privately. The fact that it's handheld implies that they're still standing around. And like, it feels like them shattering the fourth wall. Because now the floating camera that's invisible is something you can address.
Because when I read the book Olivia wrote about Kid Nation, Olivia talks about how they did the talking heads.
Yes.
And this is obviously only going to be solidly for Kid Nation, but this was the most insight I've ever had in how that works.
Right.
Is they would take the children to another location to do talking heads.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this own setup, and there were incentives to do talking heads. And you wanted to be a kid who was asked to do a lot of them because there were apparently like better snacks and stuff. So I'm wondering if woods are woods, leaves is plants, woods is woods.
Right.
I wonder how far, both physically and temporally, these were. Mm-hmm. Like, were these all filmed at the end?
It's possible. I'm going to bring something up soon.
Because even with eliminated contestants, Lauren is in a hotel somewhere in Louisiana. Lauren is not home.
Right.
They do not send you home when you go home in a
Oh, of course not.
Well, I know you know this, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if, like, our listeners who do not study reality TV like it's their job.
She's in a grave.
Well, yes. But they usually have them in some place because then their friends and family would know.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, you were only gone for 3 days. I don't think you make it.
I don't think you win.
So they usually, you're committed to the show for the duration, is what I'm saying here. Mm-hmm. So Laura and Naseer are talking about the death box. He suspects that she has it, and he has some points to make because her story is not consistent.
Yes. So this is freak out moment number 1 for this situation. Nasir is interrogating Laura while she's laying down, and he's cuddling her legs.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird that she's, like, lounging. He's, like, cozy with her and like, hey, you a murderer? Like, why? Whatever. So the story doesn't add up, and thus the best line of the series comes out.
Dishonesty is really one of the telltale signs of somebody who's willing to steal the death box and hold on to it and kill people in silence.
Is it? Is that in a handbook somewhere?
I mean, I think he's not wrong.
He's like, dishonesty? Classic death box stealer. Every death box stealer is known for their dishonesty.
And so the show, clearly not prepared for them to already be really, like, actively accusing each other, rushes to explain the accusation process. But I genuinely feel like they thought that they were going to have more time before someone was going to j'accuse.
Yes, the way they explain it
Is bad.
is insanity. They have a shot of Nasir, like, thinking, I think Lauren might be the killer. And he's just sitting in a chair. And then the mastermind talks to Nasir through telepathy?
Yeah.
He's just sitting alone in the woods, and the mastermind's like, careful, Nasir. If you make a public accusation and you're wrong, you'll immediately go into the execution ceremony. And he's like freaking out and twitching and touching his temple. It's like, oh, okay. We're completely in the land of make-believe now.
Yeah, I don't have a response to that.
So Nasir makes a public, formal accusation of Laura, which honestly I think is the best move, because it's not like you're gonna get more clues. It's just like, it's fresh in everyone's mind, we know what we know, let's make a stab at this. Unfortunately, he is wrong.
Well, they also do this, like, very funny bit where everyone has to physically stand next to him.
Yes.
Because accusations must be unanimous.
Yes.
And so they all just kind of, like, accuse Laura. And then what makes it funny to me, the accusation protocol is not made clear. So Laura literally says, do I talk?
Yeah, do I get to say something?
She actually says, do I have to say something? Like, she doesn't know what to do. And then the mastermind comes over the PA and is like, you're wrong.
Or telepathy. Because, like, I want to again point this out. They never established the idea of there being a PA. Because any other time that the mastermind wants to talk to him, they call on a cell phone. So I think that this is supposed to be in their brain. Like, you could have done a bit where, like, you text him.
Yeah.
Like, we've accused Laura. But no, we don't do any of that stuff. So because they are wrong, Nasir is condemned to the execution ceremony. Which begs the question, if he's the only one suffering consequences, why would you not go along with an accusation?
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be unanimous, but if you're not the one making the accusation, you can only gain information. I got problems. And then we get a talking head!
With the killer. This is something I wanted to bring up. That trivia murder party-esque voice of our good buddy, the mastermind. Well, they can't use that voice again. So the killer's voice is this awkward, helium-sounding...
Judge Doom-esque.
Yeah.
I'm the killer. Nobody even knows that I'm the killer.
I'm the killer, and I'm laughing inside because nobody knows it's me. But I gotta keep a poker face. I didn't want anyone to see me smiling, so I just tried to blend in and be myself like I am around them the whole time. It's something that just makes you grind your teeth. Like, you dumb idiots.
And they're like a shadow person. Like WWE vacant.
Yes.
Like, they're just a guy or gal in a black Zenny suit.
Yeah, it is really bad.
I do like that their name shows up, but it's distorted. That's a fun touch.
I think it's all of the
their
names
stacked,
superimposed on top of each other.
Stacked on top. Yeah, that was cool. And they just brag, and then we move on. We get a phone call. Someone screams, "Oh, I hate that." That's what the show is. They're told, again, to divide into pairs.
Okay.
But since one of them is already going to the ceremony, someone must stay behind with Nasir. Steph says that she cannot swim.
This is such a weird sequence.
Yeah. Steph says she cannot swim, and they're being told to go to the water's edge. There's another woman whose name I don't catch, who's like super scared of everything. And Erica just goes, "I'll stay."
Yeah. Despite the
Why
fact
does
that
she get to stay?
I couldn't figure out if Stephanie wanted to stay. Like, it was very confusing.
I have here, no one pushes for the immunity spot, because we learned from the last episode that Cody didn't have to go, and he basically was immune.
Yeah.
So now, someone's going to stay behind with Nasir. We know that they're going to basically be immune. You'd think Steph, who can't swim, would want it. You'd think this other girl who's super scared would want it. It also should go to Kelly, who's already done an elimination game.
That's fair.
But none of that gets discussed. It's just like Erica being like, "I'll stay." And thus she stays.
Yeah.
So, they're walking to the water, and the whole time they're just like, "This is bad. There could be snakes. There could be leeches. There could be crocodiles. There could be gators." And I'm like, are they trying to, like, freak each other out? And, like, this would be a great spot for a talking head of, like, I kept saying I was afraid of snakes. I'm not, but I wanted to get into everyone else's head. Because there's no gameplay in this reality show.
No, like, the players... It is players versus mastermind. The players haven't figured out how to play with each other yet.
They each don a life vest and are placed on boats with their partners. It is stupid dark, and you can't see anything. They sit there, not sure what the game's going to be. They sit there talking about how they're scared.
Yeah.
They sit there wondering what the game's going to be. They sit there, commercial. I would be infuriated if I was watching this live.
I had the thought during this sequence where the mastermind goes, "Put on your life vests and blindfolds." And it made me miss Trivia Murder Party's narrator. Because put on your life vests.
It's so funny.
There's such a good joke in there. Like, it's so easy to go, "Put on your life vests." We wouldn't want anyone getting hurt now, would we?
It's that simple. It's literally that simple.
Like, just adding that little bit of, like, personality to the mastermind. Because the mastermind is clearly intended to be a Jigsaw-esque figure.
Mm-hmm.
Jigsaw's got a little more, spark. He's got a little more pizzazz. The mastermind could really use some pizzazz. Yes. When they're sitting there just blindfolding themselves, not doing anything, all I can think of is that part in Guardians of the Galaxy where Rocket Raccoon goes, "Here we are, standing here. Bunch of dumbasses."
Bunch of dumbasses. And then this brilliant line, if we fall into the water, just stay calm, because alligators fear fear.
I think he said feel fear.
Feel fear?
It's not better.
It's not a better line.
It makes slightly more sense, though. My next note is there's a lantern and a covered-up box in every boat, and the pacing of this show is ass.
Yeah. So we're like 20 minutes into this episode, and finally the mastermind's like, all right, this is an endurance. There's a flag in your boat. Waving that is admitting that you want off and you don't want to stay out there anymore. You will sit out there all night.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. This is like based on psychology and like whether the fear gets to you.
And like you're out there in the water with snakes, leeches, and gators. He uses the exact same terms that the players were using when they were walking up there. And I was like, they're following a script.
Yeah.
Like, you could make the argument that they changed what the mastermind said in the ADR to make it match more of what the conversation was saying.
Yeah.
But it seems very sus to me that they happen to use the exact same phrasing. Then, I immediately say get comfy. Because my thought would be, we just have to stay in this boat. I'm going to lay down. Because I'm going to get comfy, and then we're going to be here. And then, we get B-roll of gators in the water.
Yeah, it's our B-roll gators.
There is no way there are actual alligators anywhere near them. It's just shots of B-roll gators.
Yeah, we do love our B-roll gators.
So, we keep having
my next note is merch idea. Sports jersey. The B-roll gators.
The B-roll gators?
I don't know why, but I thought it was the funniest thing.
So, we get some B-roll gators, and then the mastermind's like, open the present I left you. They pull over this thing, and it's the scariest thing you can imagine. It's snakes in a sealed clear box.
Oh no.
Stephanie, at this point, screams while perfectly lighting herself with the flashlight.
Almost like she's an actor.
Yes! This is all bullcrap! They're then instructed to pull the plugs in the boat. And this is kind of good gameplay, in my opinion. They pull these things, so now there's a hole in the boat, so now they're sinking. They're sinking into a swamp full of leeches, snakes, and B-roll alligators. And inside the clear box are things like pails and like cans, things that you could use to bail out a boat.
Yes.
But in order to get them, you'd have to reach into the snake box.
Not the snake box.
Kind of a good game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Nobody tries to, like, step on the hole to stop water from coming in.
No.
That would be my first instinct, but...
I mean, my first instinct would be on so many levels. I would totally be the person who is like, I would have ripped up clothing. Like, there's a few places where I'm like, I would have ripped up. Like, I could maybe stuff this hole with part of my shirt.
Exactly. No one tries that, which means either they're all dumb, or when the game was explained to them, they were told they weren't allowed to do that. We cut back to Nasir and Erica, who are in the cabin, who take this opportunity to snoop, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, because I make a joke during this, and I go, meanwhile, Erica's, like, eating a sandwich or something. And then the next shot was Erica, and I was like, ah!
Yeah, look at them. So they snoop around, they don't find any evidence, and nothing really comes of it.
Yeah.
It's just letting you know that those people still exist. And then when we cut back, I hear this wonderful line. You don't want to be in that water. not water. It's very clearly South Jersey wooder. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, I think they're all from the East Coast.
That would have been based on... That could have been Leah, Ted... It could have been Leah or Ted.
I didn't write the gender of the person who wrote it down, so I'm not sure.
Because Leah, Ted, Lauren, and Nasir are all from the Philadelphia metro area.
I knew it.
People in this show are disproportionately from California, Philadelphia area. There's a handful of people from other places.
Yeah, maybe this was Lemon Casting, because I know that's who the casting director in the Philly area is.
I mean, Lauren said she was scouted while bartending.
Mm-hmm.
And Leah is also a bartender. She's just not... Leah is listed as a bartender in her talking heads. Lauren is listed as a model to keep there from being too many bartenders.
That makes sense.
Speaking of Lauren. Speaking of Laura.
Yes.
Laura starts to whine.
Oh, they all whine.
But Laura whines a lot because they now have to hold two of the snakes over their heads.
Yes.
These are clearly like garter snakes. Mm-hmm. This is the part where my reality TV brain I would not have been worried about the snakes.
Yeah.
Because I would have been like, these are not venomous. They're little tiny like garter snakes.
Yeah.
And I've been like, they're not putting poisonous, actively venomous snakes in here.
They're not cobras.
And so like this would not have bothered me. I'd have been like, I hope they don't have teeth. Like,
yeah.
I hope these can't bite me even non-venomously because I just don't want it to hurt. But Laura whines and panics. Adam says, and I quote, "Shut up, you're fine."
Yeah, shut up, you're fine. And she panics so much that she wings the snakes into the water.
Which I feel bad for the snakes because I don't think those are the types of snakes. I don't think those were wild caught snakes.
Yeah, first off, two things about this. One, at least now it's true that there's snake in the water, because there clearly wasn't. Two, I did Fear Factor in Universal Studios.
Yeah.
And one of the things I had to do was I had to reach into a tank full of eels and grab hockey pucks and throw them to my partner.
Yeah.
In the instructions, they very specifically say, if you take an eel out of the tank, you will be banned from Universal Studios for life. And then they showed a slide that was like cute underwater doggo. And like they made the eel look really cute. There's no way that you should be throwing these snakes into the lake.
No, it actually really bothered me.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like I don't have any proof that those snakes were taken care of or protected in any way after that.
Yeah.
And that sucks. And now Laura and Adam have to go to the elimination ceremony. And Adam's annoyed because it's the same thing as what happened to Lauren. Mm-hmm. Your partner screwed up and now you have to go to this execution ceremony.
I thought Adam didn't have to go because Nasir was going, but no, it's going to be all three of them going. And I also have a note here that in a post-Fear Factor world, these people suck so much.
Yeah.
Because compared to a Fear Factor stunt, these people are doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like in Fear Factor, you get buried in snakes.
And these are also so clearly little, cute baby snakes.
Mm-hmm. I'd also like to point out that the challenge at this point, because the mastermind's yelling out challenges, is one of your partner needs to grab two snakes and hold them over their head.
Yeah.
Laura does it and freaks out. Adam is never freaked out. Why isn't he the one who grabs the snakes?
No idea.
That would have been fun.
Everyone else is giddy over their victory. Especially, endearingly, Stephanie.
Yeah, Stephanie calls it like a lovely bonding experience.
And she just like is like a... And this was all the things. She was most afraid of snakes and drowning. Also, if you're Stephanie, you're going, okay, we did mine and I made it. Mm-hmm. If this is my two biggest fears, we did mine and I'm done now.
Yeah. It'll be all downhill from here.
So, Laura is freaking out about having to go up against two dudes in the competition. Although we have no proof that physical prowess is of any use in any of these. Mm-hmm. I would say Lauren and Kelly were pretty evenly matched, but there's no proof that a bigger guy like Adam would have had a real edge over a Lauren or a Kelly in the Buried Alive challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So she's worried about being against two big guys, but there's not really a reason for that.
Yeah.
There's now a theory that Erica has the box because Erica and Steph go to the potty alone together all the time.
Yeah. There's like a weird argument about not accusing someone. Mm-hmm. Which is like, yeah, now's not the time for accusations. Like, it's just weird and it doesn't go anywhere.
But they're throwing accusations around. They all kind of think it's Erica, but nobody wants to make a formal accusation because no one else wants to go into the elimination.
The way that they say now's not the time for this makes me think they're not allowed to.
That there's already been one in this, like, game cycle?
Either there've already been one, so they're not allowed to, or the producers are like, we can't do this game with 4 people.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah. But everyone's accusing one another, except everyone knows now, obviously, that it's not Laura. So she's kind of out of that conversation. And the next sequence of events is a bunch of the guys calling specifically Erica a psycho and implying she's the killer. And then we get a talking head from the killer that says, they still have no clue I'm the killer. So it's not Erica.
Yeah, you would imagine that means that it's not Erica.
Because if everyone's going, sure do think it's Erica, and then the talking head is, they have no clue. I don't think it's Erica, y'all. Yeah. Kelly takes Laura aside and consoles her about the upcoming ritual, since Kelly's the only person who has at this point survived one. And Adam has the strategy to try to get Laura to stay calm, because he wants the two of them to survive and for Naseer to die.
Yes.
Long, stupid interlude where there's a bug in the cabin.
Yeah.
It's like a less fun version of Daisy of Love.
Of the skunk?
Yes. Mm-hmm. One of the best reality show moments ever. And the three of them are led to finally it's time for their ceremony. They're led to like a storage unit looking thing with chains.
One of those like tanks. One of those like metal like
the pods.
Shipping tank, yeah.
Yeah, like the ones like your neighbor has when they're getting construction done. Mm-hmm. And each of them has a mark to stand on, which is funny.
Yes, they each have a mark to stand on, and clearly Adam goes to the wrong one and is like trying to bully Naseer into his spot. It was very silly. And
I have a note here that Adam is blonde, and his hair is really showing that he hasn't been able to wash it in a couple days.
So they are basically chained up with like screws.
Yeah.
They need to undo all the screws and remove this cage that's on their head.
That has rats in it.
That has what they're calling rats in it. And once that's off, they can find the final key to unlock themselves and leave. The person who will be left alone, the mastermind will remotely activate their cage, allowing the rats to enter their part of the cage and attack their face.
So, why are you saying what they're calling rats?
Because they look like mice to me.
They're rats.
You think?
My college roommate had rats. Like, intentional rats.
Yeah, they look like intentional rats. Like, they're like the calico, nice looking. They bought it at a PetSmart.
They're still rats.
Yeah.
They're just like, they're not wild.
They're not feral rats.
Yeah, no, these are just like, again, a PA rocked up to PetSmart and bought some rats.
They're not New York rats.
No, they're very clearly, they're like Tony and Pepper.
Yeah.
The rats in my dorm.
Yeah. My rats were Gino and Ginger, I think.
So, Naseer is the first one to get himself out.
Yeah, Naseer rocks through it. Like, they do kind of this interesting thing where the key is actually hidden behind their own head.
Yeah.
So I thought there was going to have to be a moment where someone said that to the other person because they couldn't see it. Mm-hmm. A la Saw 2.
Yeah.
Where there's like something written on the back of their necks. But no. It's just footage of them undoing screws, which really hard to see.
Yeah.
Nasir rocks out immediately. Adam then realizes, well, it's me or her now.
Yeah.
So
Not
Adam,
that Adam's been helping her before that
Yeah.
either.
and Laura just starts like whining. Adam, please, please, Adam. I can't see anything. I have that note again.
I have Adam is forced to leave. Force 2 is strong. He bolts as she screams for him.
Yeah.
And again, this is where those minions would have been super helpful because we've established these two characters as being close friends.
Mm-hmm.
He should, in any logical situation, at least kind of try to get to her.
Yeah.
No.
And yeah, so Adam bails. She starts crying, "Please, Adam, please!" And then she's eaten by rats off screen.
And not the real, like, even the audio of it is kind of confusing because you just hear a little bit of, like,
Yeah,
not even enough.
like there's never a moment where her face and the rats are occupying the same space.
No. And, like, this is me kind of putting on my, like, I would have liked more direct horror. You could have just had, like, a card that said, like, an hour later, and it's just a shot of a clear body double or dummy on the ground with the mask and then, like, a rat walking away.
Yeah. It's so poorly executed in general. So now I got two questions for you.
Yeah?
One, who do you think the killer is?
My thought is Cody.
I'm suspicious of Cody too because he's done very little, but we're getting lots of him.
I actually thought after the first episode, we had a lot of Cody in the first episode and almost no Cody in the second.
There is a lack of Cody. In the
Like
second
that they were
episode.
trying to make sure we knew who he was, but also that we could kind of maybe forget about him a little bit.
I also have a note that I'm suspicious of Adam, but I don't know why.
No, either.
I just wrote Adam down. And second, on a scale of 1 to 13, how real is the fear?
I would say probably a 10 or 11 during the boat challenge.
Really?
And probably a roughly 2 during the final challenge.
I have a 2. They were in boats where there were not gators. They were B-roll gators.
I don't think the gators were there, but it was still, like, I'm also, they're not sleeping. We are now on, like, day 3 of no sleep. I really think that you are falling victim to couch reactions for horror, where you are not able to think about what it's actually like in that situation. You are just in, like, well, I'm on my couch and I'm cozy.
I completely disagree. What situation were they in? They were in a boat.
Yeah.
They're wearing a life jacket.
In a dark, like, in the woods, they have poison ivy, they're being attacked by bugs.
I'm sure they're uncomfortable.
Okay, but if I'm in a production and I've already gotten poison ivy and attacked by bugs this much, I'm not sure how competent production is.
Okay.
So there's part of me that's like, how safe are they? Because I would be like, is this like an elaborate snuff film?
Let me tell you, I again, we've only watched episodes 1 through 3 at this point. If in episode 6 one of them gets eaten by an alligator, I'm gonna feel terrible. But these are clearly B-roll gators.
Oh, the gators are never in the same space as them. I absolutely agree about the gators. Episode 3. Ryan is afraid of psycho killers. Both of us. Who's Ryan?
Who the hell's this guy?
He and Melissa have been a team for both episodes, and neither has... And so they kind of have been going under the radar. Mm-hmm. And I will admit that I forgot about Ryan. Oh, I did have some research about Laura.
Oh, by all means, give us some research about Laura.
Based on what I'm finding, Laura appears to be a film writer now.
A film writer?
Yes, like she writes about film. She did do some acting, but she has a book out called Film Elegy. She did some production assistant. She did directed some shorts. So she did work on some things, but she didn't do a lot of acting.
Interesting.
So I thought that was interesting. So far, supporting your theory that that all of the contestants are, in some way, shape, or form, showbiz connected.
I had that feeling.
All right, so back to Ryan.
Yeah, back to Ryan. Who is he?
Like I said, Ryan and Melissa have not done as much. They've performed well enough in the challenges to stay out of the killer's ceremony, and that's about it.
So
there's a great quote from Ryan that we're going to play here about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
I think that's why I'm so afraid, because I actually believe that something with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre could really happen, and that's what makes it so terrorizing.
I want to point out that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was advertised as based on a true story.
Yes.
That's not true. It's largely fictional, but I just thought that was a weird choice for him to say that. So the contestants get together for their morning chit-chat, and they are upset that the killer that's amongst them hasn't killed anybody. It boils down to, I'm bored, do something.
Yeah.
And someone even throws out you're turning the killer box into a wussy box.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, Leah specifically goes like, I would have killed someone, Cody would have killed someone, Ryan would have killed someone.
Yeah, I think this was an attempt to be like, I'm not the killer, because if I were, someone would be dead by now.
Yeah, they decide that Ted's creepy, and what happens is we get B-roll of Ted just glowering with a 1,000-yard stare, and there's two things that this makes me think of. One, poor Ted has just got a bad case of RBF. Mm-hmm. Two, I love Game Changer Survivor. And there's a shot where Brennan Lee Mulligan is sitting like on the main part of the stage eating alone. And he goes, this would make great B-roll. Just me talking over me eating sadly alone. Mm-hmm. And just really like leaning into it. And I couldn't help but think of like, oh, all this convenient B-roll of this poor guy's RBF as they try to paint him as looking like a psycho killer.
Yeah.
Cody thinks it's Steph and literally says, I don't have any evidence or facts. I'm just solving it by body language. And I'm like, oh, he's going to solve the murder by vibes.
Yeah, playing vibes. Sometimes I play Blood on the Clock Tower. Sometimes you got to do that.
I'm assuming that it's Melissa that says, like, I kill someone, bam, 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 bam. Because it doesn't seem to fit like Christian Kelly.
Yeah.
Melissa and Kelly are impossible to tell apart in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
I said this previously, but, like, when I was like, oh, there's two contestants I have a hard time telling apart, it's Melissa and Kelly in this episode.
Yes. After all this, we get a confessional from the killer.
Yeah.
And the killer talks about how, like, oh, they still have no idea. And we both are kind of like, did the killer just sound, like, oddly Southern just then?
Which is interesting because there's not, based on where people are but people are also, like, billed from places you don't necessarily find yourself born. Like, if anyone billed from LA, not everyone is going to have been born in LA.
Well, I spend the rest of the episode
trying to listen for the Southern accent.
Listen for a Southern accent, and I don't hear one. I'd like to put out that perhaps this talking head is not even being done by the killer, and that this is just someone they hired to be the killer stand-in for footage reasons.
It's the PA.
Yeah.
Like, you're filming in Louisiana. This could be a production assistant or something.
Exactly. I forgot that they're filming in Louisiana.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's more likely to be just someone local.
Yeah, someone local. Somebody who's already working there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Sarah, can you real quick jump on camera and say what's on the script?
Yeah.
So then Rodney...
Oh my God.
We get this incredibly long sequence. Rodney can't sleep. He goes to sit by the fire pit. He sits out by the showers, just chilling. My next note, nothing happens on this show.
Nothing happens. And I want to point this out. The way it's shot, it looks like Rodney's sleeping in a dress shirt,
Yeah.
but he's sleeping in a flannel. But it's a flannel shirt, so you see him in this like night vision-esque camera wearing what looks to be a white button-up shirt open. So you can kind of see his like chest.
Yeah.
Then there's a talking head of him being like, I can't sleep, so I'm going to hang out in the shower. And he's wearing a black shirt. The show is so fake.
All of the girls go out to go get showers. And they just see Rodney sitting by the showers. And they think it's creepy. And I'm going to be honest, this is probably the one place where I'd be like, oh, the fears of the 13.
Really?
Well, if I want to go take a shower and
there's a dude?
One of the guys is just sitting there, yeah, I would find that actually really...
Upsetting, yeah.
And, like, even if it's another contestant, like someone I know, I would be like, is this a person I'm safe around? Mm-hmm. Like, production would stop him from harming me, right? Like,
right.
This is the part where I'm like, oh, I don't like this out of gameplay reasons. And they're all just laying under the mosquito nets because they're all under mosquito nets whenever they're there. Like, they all have to sleep under mosquito nets at all times. Mm-hmm. And then we get a shot of Stephanie chilling by the dock, and then we get him.
It's a B-roll gator.
It's a B-roll croc. It's a crocker gator. I'm not sure.
It's the fighting B-roll gators.
Yeah, so she's fishing, and I was like, are you fishing for the gator? Like, what the hell are you
There
doing?
is footage of gators swimming, and then a gator just kind of sitting there, and a bobber hitting the gator in the head. And I immediately write down, I'm sure that happened. I'm sure that's real footage from this reality show. Then she screams and falls into the swamp. But, like, what we see is she's fine. They cut away. She screams. They cut back, and she's just in the water.
Yeah.
Like, there's no shot of her falling. And she goes, I almost died. Okay. Nothing happens in this show.
Also, like, the way she's standing, she is only wet from the waist down. So, like, even if she fell, like, her hair's not wet.
Yeah, she landed on her feet.
Yeah, it's dumb.
So the mastermind then tells them to find some barrels to construct a raft.
Yeah, they have to repair a raft.
Yeah. So that they can get to the other side of the river. And then there's lots of talk about, we're going to forge the river. They make a 5x5 platform that like two of them jump on to get across this river. And guess what we see? It's B-roll gators.
My buddies.
Because these two men standing on a raft made out of oil drums and willpower are totally in a body of water with gators in it.
There is a great moment, though, with their reaction to it. We're fording the river!
Forging the river.
And I just have laughs in millennial. Because it's such, like, they're clearly making an Oregon Trail joke.
Yes.
B-roll gators. And then they find a creepy footlocker.
Yes.
And I went, it's pizza.
It's not pizza, but it is beer.
Yes. Adam has concerns, and then they crappily reenact a scene from Scream. Like, the scene where they're all talking about the rules of horror movies, they pretty much have that conversation, but, like, badly. Like, oh, it's the people who sneak off to have sex. Oh, it's the people who get too drunk and let their guard down. Mm-hmm. Like, who gets killed in a horror movie. I don't know why I have great Cody B-roll here.
Okay, so I honestly
he's
think
looking at his fingers for some reason.
he's just staring at his fingers like, oh, I have fingers. Interesting. Why do I have fingers? There's a shot earlier where right before Steph falls, where we're seeing like camera from someone's point of view, and you see their fingers get into the shot because they're like holding on to something. I honestly believe This is the show kind of trying to give us a clue by going,
Cody has fingers.
Cody has fingers. You know, the killer also has fingers.
Oh my god.
I honestly think it's a clue. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but it's the stupidest thing. Oh my god, Cody has fingers. And then, B-roll gator.
It was exciting to see our B-roll gators. Ted has to go do something. And somebody goes, hey, Ted, don't kill yourself while you're back there.
Brutal.
They're trying to imply he's the killer. But, like, it was a different time.
Yeah.
And then we kind of just see everybody doing stuff. We follow Erica into the house. Ted is out by B-roll Gator Lake. Rodney's in the shower. And then we see Stephanie and we see someone's hand. And we see Stephanie turn to them and go, are you kidding me? And then it cuts away and we hear audio of screaming and stabbing.
Yes. When we come back, there is a bloody glove on Steph's bed. Mm-hmm. And we get audio that Steph has been killed and her body has been disposed of. She is gone.
And this is another thing. Maybe this is me being too ghoulish, but I think we could have had some very good shots of, like, just even Stephanie's hand just out, like not detached from her body, but, like, kind of showing that she's well and truly dead. Because this, to me, sows doubt. I'm like, is she dead, though?
So here's my problem with it. I see your point. I think gameplay-wise, they've clearly said that she's gone.
Yeah, but horror movie and comic book movie-wise, there's no body that we've seen.
There's a bloody glove for some reason.
And, like, it's not even stated that someone else finds her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's just gone. When they find the box, they state in the rules that only the killer knows how the box works. So we don't know how the deaths work.
No, we don't. Is it like a Pokeball? Like, did he throw it at her and she's,
Now she's gone? I, in college, used to play a game called Assassin. This was very popular. Basically, what would happen is you would be sent someone's picture, and that was your mark. You had to then kill them. Meanwhile, someone has a picture of you trying to kill you. And you wanted to basically kill your target so you got a new one, to the point where you've killed everyone except for the person who's coming to kill you, and then you kill them and you win.
Right.
And the game was kind of like you had to physically touch the person and then say how they were killed.
Okay.
So what I ended up doing was my roommate was an RA. I stole his RA shirt and I went to the apartment of the guy I was supposed to kill.
Oh my god.
And knocked on the door and said there was a noise complaint. So as I'm talking to him, and I had a clipboard, and I was talking to him, and my other roommate was, he was allergic to kiwi.
Okay.
So he had a fake EpiPen that he, trained us to use. So, I'm talking to this guy, and I made him say his name, and then I stabbed him in the chest with a fake EpiPen.
That's assault.
No, it was the game. And we had a good laugh, but that's how I got him.
Oh.
And we it was a fun little game to play on campus.
Yeah.
And then we found out that there was an official rule guide on how to play this game. And in the rule guide, there were things like you could break into your mark's house. Mm-hmm. And put dye in their toilet. And then when they, the tank, so when they flushed the toilet, it turned red, and that counted as getting them, because they died of poison.
That's kind of fun.
You could take a crosshair and put it on a camera, and if you zoomed in and were able to capture your mark's head for 3 seconds, that counted as sniping.
Huh.
So there's all these very interesting mechanics that I'm I wonder what the mechanic's going to be here.
Right.
Because I also used to LARP.
Yes.
And when I LARPed, I'd like to play as a thief or a rogue. And the way being a rogue in a LARP works is you can walk up to someone and you put a clothespin on them. And if they don't notice the clothespin for 2 minutes, the GM will walk up and say, like, you've been pickpocketed.
Ah.
I was expecting something like that.
Okay.
Where, like, you would slip something to them that they wouldn't notice, and then, like, later on they'd look in their pocket and there'd be a note that said, you've been poisoned, and then they'd have to pretend to be poisoned. This, everything's happening off screen, so we still have no context of gameplay.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
Yeah. We're 3 episodes deep, and, like, things still feel confusing. The alcohol feels like it is already a desperate Hail Mary by the producers, because the producers realized that they have a daytime problem. They had to fill...
Nothing's happening, let's get them drunk.
This is just me, they have to do so much nighttime filming. I genuinely wonder how much daytime they're really awake for.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because if they're doing a lot of nighttime filming, if they're going to bed at 4 in the morning, let's say...
And sleep till noon.
They might be sleeping till 1, 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then, but if it's, as I suspect, summer or autumn, they're probably also, because this has to be, at the very latest, autumn that they're filming.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have a lot of nighttime hours as composed to daytime hours.
Right.
And so I just thought that was super interesting.
Time for another game.
Yep.
We're down to 10 at this point, right?
Yeah, so we get no one has to stay behind this time.
Mm-hmm.
We have 5 neat pairs. I do also want to bring up that this made me happy to see somebody actually use the killer box, because I kept thinking of Murder in Small Town X, when there was the constant threat of, like, if you go off alone, you could get murdered. And we see people go off alone constantly, but no one went off alone with the right person, so no one got murdered. But they get this elaborate puzzle and maze challenge. And the teams are Cody and Kelly, Ted and Rodney, Ryan and Erica, Adam and Nasir, Melissa and Leah. They do not form their own teams.
Yes. So they're assigned randomly in that I believe they're told to split up into 2 groups of 5.
Yes, and they're each given a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, the 5 of them wander off into the woods.
And the other 5 are just kicking it by the fire in the camp.
Sit in a chair. And the ones in the chair have a map to try to guide their partner to 5 different spots so they can get pieces of a pentagram.
Yes.
Now, the idea is each of the 5 spots have something scary that they have to deal with. Mm-hmm. Like, one of them, it's full of snakes. The other one, there's baby heads on spikes. The other, there's a scarecrow.
I think they have to reach into the scarecrow in the electric chair.
And it shocks them?
I think it does, yeah.
All right. But this is where I'm the most confused.
Okay.
Because they don't know who's on the other end at first. They're like, who is it? Oh, it's Erica. Oh, okay. And you see the map. And the map is just an open field.
Yeah.
With like 5 drawings on it. Where it's like, and he's just like, head to the oil can. Like, and they're like, what direction is that in? There are clearly moments where people are saying things like, head northeast.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, it is possible that you're like, describe where you are. Okay, according to the map, I know where you are.
Yeah.
You should head northeast. And then they have a compass that they use to head northeast. That I can believe.
We never see any of that.
We never see any of that. We don't see anything because it's so freaking dark. But there are other times where they say things like, go left and head towards the scarecrows.
Yeah.
It's a map. You have no idea what orientation the person is standing. Like, you have no idea what their left currently is.
Yeah.
And it's a field. Left of what?
It's almost impossible.
Because there's a moment where, what's his name? I have it here. Ryan. Mm-hmm. Just, like, puts his face in his hand and goes, "This is so frustrating." And I was like, that's how I feel. Because I have no idea what's going on.
Well, because at one point, he's working with Erica, and he says, Erica, stop saying my name and tell me where you are. Because she keeps going, Ryan.
And what is she going to say? I'm in a dark field.
Yeah, like, Ted, there's one point where you have to reach into a thing of snakes. Ted doesn't like snakes, and Rodney does not care.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Rodney, like, whatever, walk it off.
Yeah.
So, this is definitely one of those moments. I actually have my next note here. I am reminding myself that they're all sleep deprived. Because Leah, Kelly, and Adam struggle with what appears to be a 5-piece puzzle with identical pieces.
Yeah, it's just a star.
It's Shrine of the Silver Monkey coded, if you will.
Yeah.
And I'm reminding myself, I'm like, these 3 people are madly sleep deprived at this point.
Yeah.
And they win, and they tell their delighted teammates that they've completed the puzzle. Erica shows up and only has 4 of her pieces, because I think she refuses to get the one I don't think she realizes there's one in the snake drum or something.
She's brought to the snake drum. They're like, get the piece out of there. And she goes, I don't see it. But she doesn't, look. And then she runs away, goes back to where you put the puzzle together, and goes, I don't have all the pieces. How do you not know you didn't find 5 pieces?
But she has to run back, which gives Ted enough time to struggle through the puzzle and allows him to tell a relieved Rodney that they have completed the test, which is Erica and Ryan are being condemned to the ceremony. Yes. At least in this one, both team members do something.
Yes, but also, there is nothing Ryan could have done to win. Whoever was put with Erica would have lost.
Yeah.
So my next note is, this sucks to watch.
So their challenge is being tied to a tree and escaping.
Yes.
We hear angry, hungry dogs that are clearly never in the same zip code as Ryan and Erica.
Yeah.
They're never in the same shot. They're never, they are the farm team for the B-roll Gators. Mm-hmm. The B-roll guard dogs.
Yeah.
They're the farm team. It's it's a nice thing. They're the minor league. And then we hear a chainsaw. And the dogs scatter. And I was like, so what's the point of the dogs? And then I would go, uh-oh, Ryan. It's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because you'd think that the next thing that would happen would be whoever loses is going to get chainsawed, right?
Right, but that's not what happens.
Now, Erica voraciously, mostly with her teeth by the look of it, works in her bonds and successfully frees herself.
It looks like Ryan doesn't try. Ryan looks like a man who wants to stop playing.
He freezes, yeah. And again, we have the same thing of just Erica pieces out. She does not try to help Ryan in any way. I think having 2 minions who force you to leave the other person would go a long way to the narrative.
We then see a tree get cut down and it falls on him.
Yeah, the chainsaw killer doesn't even kill Ryan directly. They just hit him with a tree. That doesn't... This looks terrible.
It's B-roll of a tree falling towards a camera.
Yeah.
It's not like we see him in the shot or anything like that. It's the closest we get to actually seeing someone die. But it's bad.
And so Erica returns, and she just calls, "What's up?" from the darkness. And this is where we actually start to see a really interesting thing begin to happen in the house.
Yes.
The girls gleefully run up and embrace her. Mm-hmm. And the guys are solemn. Because it is taken until the end of episode 3 and the 4th death for a male contestant to die.
Yeah. So,
it was originally 7 girls and 6 boys. Now it is 4 girls and 5 boys.
Yes.
Going into episode 4. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really interesting. 'Cause I almost feel like the guys, like, kind of forgot that, like, they could also die.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of got used to, like, oh, well, the girl doesn't come back. Mm-hmm. So they all seem, like, very shaken up by Ryan's death. Mm-hmm. We don't really get a lot of... Ryan doesn't, like, do a shout-out of last words.
I start to notice something about the last words here. Basically, they all say the same thing. If you're seeing this, I didn't make it. Mm-hmm. I want to thank you guys for everything. I hope you guys find the killer. Goodbye.
Yeah.
They're all saying, like, basically those phrases. Like, there's nothing more to it than that. Like, I'm wondering if, like, those are the things they have to say. It also makes me wonder, and again, we don't know what happens next. If you've seen the whole show, we're going in blind. We've only watched episodes 1 through 3 for this. I think a vital part of the last words is, I guess it's possible for the killer to lose in one of these challenges.
Yeah.
And then their last words would have to be,
It was me,
I
Austin.
was the killer.
It was me the whole time. Yeah, and I guess that means we don't really know, because there's nothing saying that Ryan, and let's say Ryan was the killer.
Yes.
There is nothing saying he's going to say that in his last words. So the death box could be taken out of play, unbeknownst to all the players.
Oh, I think that's the rules.
Okay.
My guess is the rules is if the killer dies, he would have to say it in the last words. That was my assumption to this.
Yeah, I guess it would be kind of neat to have them be like, and with me dies this. Mm-hmm. Or alternately, this means I'm no longer in possession of this. It's in the house somewhere.
Yeah, something like that. So I think there's a good chance we see something like that happen.
Because we do not know... The thing with the box, the question I have is, whoever possesses the box, like say it had been Stephanie, if someone had found it in the house and taken it...
Would they then be the killer?
Exactly.
Possibly.
That's just a thing that hasn't come up yet. Yeah, I'm curious.
They do this whole thing where only the killer knows the rules of it. So it's frustrating for me as a watcher to be like, this doesn't function very well as a reality show. Because there's no gameplay. There's literally no gameplay. Like, there are challenges, but literally the only thing that's important is you don't get a partner who sucks.
Yeah, that seems to be the major... I mean, at least... Because now in 2 of the 3 elimination ceremonies, the partner who has died has been the partner who was less active in the failure of the team. Mm-hmm. Only in Laura's death...
Yeah.
Was the competitor who actually lost the challenge killed?
Yes.
Both Lauren and Ryan were innocent.
Yep.
Technically. Like, it was Erica and Kelly who screwed up.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of episode 3. Who do you think the killer is at the end of episode 3?
So, I have... IDK, maybe still Cody. I don't think it's Erica or Ted. They feel like red herrings.
Yeah, I stuck with Cody as well for this. And on a scale of 1 to 13, how real do you think the fear is?
Oh, like 4.
I have a 1. What was there?
I'm scared of everything, so I've been like, I'm in the dark and there's a bug. I still have to come back and sleep in that. I did find this... I've been usually discussing my research after a character death, mm-hmm. which is why I already had research on Stephanie.
Right.
We have not watched past episode 3, but I did find an interview with some behind-the-scenes stuff. They really did not think they were sleeping in that cabin.
Oh,
and
really?
They were displeased when they found out they were.
Oh, they got Kid Nationed.
Yeah, they thought the cabin was a set. That much I will say.
Which makes me think they weren't that scared until they were like, no, sleep here.
I think they were waiting for I think approaching the cabin is like a haunted house, Where you know you're not, like, in real danger, but you know that something's gonna go, like...
The phone's gonna ring, and you're gonna go, no, 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 no.
Like, I would have approached that the same way I would have approached, like, a haunted house.
Yeah.
Like, a good haunted house, like a universal one. Mm-hmm. But I think I could totally buy that they were like, what do you mean we're sleeping here?
Yeah. So that's going to do it for this episode, unless you have anything else to add.
Not yet.
All right, then be sure to join us here next week. I'm really glad we decided to do 3 parts, because this was 2 hours.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So where can people find us?
You can email us at thestaydoomedshow@gmail.com, or you can find us on Blue Sky at Stay Doomed.
And if you are afraid of just being in a boat, I'm at TV's Noah on Blue Sky and Instagram.
And if you are more understanding about how sleep deprivation can affect your emotional state, I'm at Laura Crane on Blue Sky and Glitter and Glow Tape on Instagram. Until next time, stay doomed.
Go B-Roll Gators!